Good afternoon, dear partners. I'm extremely happy to be the first one this year to present and to start the year off with a webinar. If I'm not mistaken, I was the last one to give a webinar last year on our series that happens every second Thursday. So I'd like to present myself. I'm Steve Noel, VP of Microsoft Sales and Development at IT Cloud. And one thing I'd like to say that it's my responsibility to make sure that we are all successful selling Microsoft-based solutions or Microsoft Cloud solutions. So this, completely forgot because it's the first time of the year that I've actually had the opportunity to greet you, dear partners. I would like to wish you guys a happy new year. Obviously, wishing you lots of, success, joy, and health. I think health is the most important thing. Hopefully, everybody is healthy and got started in their New Year's resolutions and got them up and running. Don't quit. Let's go. Let's continue on. So the subject of this webinar is to discover what's new in Copilot for Microsoft 365 in 2025. So while I was researching and working at, developing this content, which, most of it has been developed by Microsoft, but as I was getting used to the content, I couldn't help but being so surprised on last time we had the conversation on what's new for Copilot somewhere in the fall. And now there's so many new cases and tools that are now available with Copilot. I can't wait to share this with you. One thing that's very important, if you're looking for a bunch of demos, there aren't going to be that many demos. I have a couple of videos that showcasing a few tools that are interesting. But what you really want is to see Copilot in action, learn some more, I would encourage you to register in the Copilot community, which we have events on Fridays, so what we call Copilot Fridays. So I'd be very happy if you guys come. And there's going to be lots of demos and lots of great conversations. And I'm going to share the information on to come to the next Copilot Friday and hopefully register to the Copilot community. So first item on the agenda, vote for IT Cloud. So we're proud partners with the Reseller Choice Awards. We've been there, I don't know how many years in a row, and we have the opportunity to been nominated by our partners. And once more, we would really like it if you guys would choose us and in those categories: Best Cloud SaaS Distributor, Top 10 Cloud Vendor, and Industry Events, AppDirect, Thrive, and For Our People. We have two exceptional people that are nominated. We've got Ellen Aron as a partner account executive for Best Woman in Tech, and Laura Prefontaine, VP of the Partner Channel, Best Channel Chief. So please go ahead and vote, and vote as many times as you can. For us, we really like representing our channel, and I think that Elle and Laura are two exceptional individuals that actually are, they're super talented. And yes, please go ahead and vote for our people, and please nominate IT Cloud. We'll be extremely happy to represent this channel at the Reseller Choice Award. A few things. Often I have this conversations with partners, and we have chats and things that they say, hey, I've missed this event and that event. Where do I get all this, great information? I know IT Cloud has a bunch of stuff going on. How do I get informed from IT Cloud? Well, we've got an events page. And if you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, I'm just going to go there, go to the English event there. So you've got right at the top, events. And if you look at the January 2025, we have 5 events, including this one that we're having, different training. We have an exceptional training next week, Modern Work CSP Level Up training series, completely free. We have an ITCA, IT Cloud Academy training, minimal charge for people that are not inside of the program or that are not members, and the Excellence program on January 28th, and Copilot Fridays. What's super interesting is that as I'm showing this, you can actually go ahead there, register yourself, receive the email, receive the link, the team's link invite, and you'll be all set up so that you don't forget to register next time. So really appreciate it. I mean, come back and see. We've got right now, I think we have January. We're going to probably have February on there. We usually try to put events 3 months in advance there. So, yeah, very important. Go to the events page and also register the newsletter. I mean, that's another great way to be in the know is always registering in the newsletter. So let's get started. A lot of stuff to cover, a lot of precious, precious information. So let's get started. Microsoft 365 Copilot, or as Microsoft or Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, likes to call it, Microsoft 365 or Copilot is the UI for AI. So yes, the graphical interface, user interface, or used to call it the GUI, but the user interface for AI. So Microsoft has developed a gamut, a suite of different tools so that you can let your customers, employees, people that want to be more productive can leverage the power of AI. So you've got BizChat, also known as Copilot Chat. There's a bunch of AKAs here because I've, heard quite a bit. You've got Microsoft 365 apps that are powered by Microsoft Copilot, Copilot Studio and agents. And also included with Microsoft 365 Copilot, there's the adoption and also the measurements. So being able to analyze who is using what and how they're making use of Copilot. So maybe by show of hand, I'd love to see who actually has a Copilot license right now to give me a good idea of who's actually invested in the ecosystem. I see Kirby, John, Aaron, who else? No, I guess not. That's it. I would have thought there would be more people than that. But anyways, it's okay. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, I'll convince you to get one of these licenses. Or if you stick around long enough, you'll understand how to get one for no additional charge. All right. Microsoft 365 unlocks value across your organization. Very important to understand that when you look at the Copilot, it's really an ecosystem of tools. And if you're looking at the most simple denominator, it's really Microsoft 365 Copilot that can be used, within the applications, and everybody can actually leverage it. But when you start looking more specifically, there's Copilots across the organization for different departments or different types of users, right? Whether you're in customer service, sales, finance, marketing, HR, legal, and IT, there's function-specific things that you can do with Copilot, and the tool has been built from the ground up to be purposely tailored for specific things, right? Sometimes it's hard to understand what you can do with the AI agent and what the AI. So now there's specific context on how to do this. So a few things here. So you've got Microsoft. So there's flavors, right? Different flavors. So you've got your Microsoft Copilot or your Copilot Chat or your Biz Chat, another way of saying it, which is completely free. You have, um, you're able to have, conversation text and I mean, to put it, in layman's term, it's the equivalent of Chat GPT or Gemini, exact same tool. I personally like Copilot, and the reason why, and I'm not here to debate if ChatGPT is more evolved or anything like that. All I'm saying is that, and by the way, it's actually based on ChatGPT 4.0. Um, and if I'm not mistaken, if you want to be able to use that with that particular version with ChatGPT, you actually have to pay, and that's offered free. So you've got a free enterprise data protection. So, the Copilot LLM engine does not use your data or your information to actually use it to learn and evolve. So that's, a good reason to use it. That's the engine I use That's the LLM I use in on my phone, so I don't, have a paid subscription for ChatGPT. That's the one I have on my phone. That's the one I use on my that's the one I use on my computer as well. So that's my tool of choice. Now, um, the next thing here is the Microsoft 365 Copilot. So it says $30. That's $30 US. Expect to pay around $41 to $42 monthly. I think that a lot of partners are now aware that you can actually buy your Copilot license on a monthly annual basis. What do I mean by monthly annual basis? That when it first came out in 2024, what you had to do is purchase the license at, I think, $488, and that's what it was. You had to pay it all up front. Now you still have a 1 year commitment, but you can pay it at, I think it's around 40, yeah, $42, because it's a little bit more expensive now. If you haven't had the opportunity to look into this, the annual monthly is a little bit more expensive, 5% more expensive. And in another conversation, we'll talk about your licenses, your annual monthly licenses for the rest of Microsoft 365 will go up in April when your subscription is starting April when your subscription ends. It'll go up. Your annual monthly subscription will go up 5%. That being said, let's go back to the conversation. And there's also Copilot Studio, which is based on consumption. So you get like a pack of transaction or how many conversations you can have with the chat engine itself. And in this case, it's mostly agent, and it's based on consumption. You get a starter pack at around $200, and it's for the whole tenant itself. And then, if you need more, if I'm not mistaken, it's for 25,000 interactions. So an interaction is you write to the agent, and the agent writes you back. That's two transactions. So, anyways, you get like a starter pack, and then if you need more, you can purchase more. But at least 25,000 is a good start. So, customer offer: if you have a customer that has at least 50 seats of Microsoft 365 Copilot, they are eligible to have um, you know, these three different offers. So number one, if you use, and we're going to talk about SharePoint agent consumption. If you use SharePoint agents, you're going to get an extra, number of, consumption packs. So receive 10,000 SharePoint agent interactions each month for unlicensed users. So that's really cool. You get that at no extra charge. You get also an extra Copilot Studio capacity pack. So one pack per month for all users. And then you've got a Viva Insight as well, where you get 2 licenses per license Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So really cool stuff. I mean, if you have big customers, they can actually enjoy a couple of these offers together. We're going to see at the end. If you stick around, you'll see a lot of information I'm going to share with you. All right. So what's new with BizChat or um, you know, Copilot Chat? So Copilot Actions, something fairly new. I think it's available in private previews. So essentially, what that is, it's to be able to create repetitive tasks. So if you're familiar with with Power Automate, so where you can automate workflows, you can do the same with Copilot Action. The best way I can describe that is, I'm going to give you an example. We have weekly meetings with with a big team, and what happens is that people need to be able to share, the items that they want to add to the meeting. So what we do is usually every week we will have a discussion. Chats and emails will be sent, and then somebody will, whoever is leading the meeting will aggregate all that information, all the different topics that we want to discuss within the meeting. They will aggregate it in a document. Whereas with Copilot Actions, what you can do is create one of these Copilot Actions. Whereas, via email, via whether it's via email or via Teams messages. The people actually get a prompt every Monday, and they can enter in the information, and then all this information, goes into a document and gets summarized by Copilot, and then it emails back the summary of the agenda of what's actually going to be discussed within the meeting. So as you can see, multiple steps. It's just the beginning, but it's super interesting. So you're leveraging, just like when you're using Power Automate, you're leveraging the power of Copilot to actually um, automate repetitive tasks. So super interesting, tons of revenue opportunity if you're offering services to your customers to bring automation and AI together. Copilot Biz Chats pages to be able to create rich artifacts. So if you're not familiar with pages, Copilot Chat, I think everybody is just a chat engine to be able to, create prompts and get answers from Copilot itself. Now you actually have the ability to use Copilot, Copilot um, pages. And what's interesting is that if you've ever used BizChat or Copilot Chat, you're doing research and you're working on some stuff. So you would copy and paste some of what you're doing, whether it's in a OneNote or in Word document or something like that. Um, cool, but doesn't have all that flexibility. Now with Pages, what you can do is you know use your pages, copy the searches that you've done, or the research that you've done within Copilot, and take that information, copy to Pages, and have multiple people collaborate in Pages. And it's a living document that uses AI and that lives within your Microsoft 365 environment. So you no longer have to copy it and put it in a Word format or put it somewhere where it's hard to actually share and have all the information accessible, and that you can actually continue and have the document evolve within Copilot Pages. And now what you can do is not only text, but you can integrate images in there and artifacts. So making collaboration and task management and sharing of results of Copilot queries easily available to your team. And that's going to be available early in 2025. If you haven't played around with Pages, we actually did a demo on Copilot Fridays. So if you're part of the community, you can go and check it out. Next, what are the changes, the innovations in Microsoft 365 apps? So the first one, I can't wait till it's available. And if you're using, obviously, you need to be using Copilot in the new Outlook. By the way, the new Outlook got a lot better. It was a little tough to actually work with the new Outlook. When I started, I guess it's been several months, and got a lot better. It's getting better every day. So um, I look forward to actually utilizing these things. So first of all, prioritize my inbox. So you've got Copilot will tell you which emails are priorities, which ones you should treat the first. I think it's an interesting feature because it looks at your interactions. It looks also if somebody's your boss, and so there's a lot of different things that go in there. And the interaction, it might be an important customer. It's something that you can actually manage yourself or have the system learn. But what's really interesting is that it can tell you, when you have an unmanageable inbox, such as myself, sometimes I come back not necessarily from vacation, but from a meeting. There's a bunch of emails. From the last time I visited my inbox, I might have, something like 17 emails waiting. So having Copilot telling me which emails I need to prioritize is excellent, as well as scheduling one-on-one time. So when I work with my team, one of the things that's the most difficult is actually finding the right time to have one-on-ones. So you can use Copilot and Outlook to schedule one-on-one time and as well as focus time. Again, a feature that I use a lot. Not always able to have focus time every day, but whenever I have it, I'm able to focus on what's important. Sometimes we have way too many meetings, and also the ability of Copilot being able to draft agendas for specific meetings. Who knows the pain of actually having a draft an agenda when we have a recurring meeting, making sure that we don't lose time. So you've got your prioritized inbox and private preview in January 2025, as well as schedule and draft agendas. They say general availability in December 2024. Now, some of these features that I'm going to be talking about, they say that they're GA in December 2024. I've been looking for them, so I don't know if it's late or if it's too early, or maybe I'm not looking at the right place. Some of these features you have to they're accessible online before actually being accessible on the desktop applications, or the online version of the applications before being available on the desktop. That shouldn't be the case for the new Outlook, because essentially the new Outlook is a web client, basically. Copilot for Excel. Some really cool stuff happening with Copilot for Excel. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to reshare my screen, because I forgot to share the sound, and show you a little demo of what is now available in Copilot in Excel with Python.
We are combining Copilot in Excel with the power of Python, one of the world's most popular programming languages for working with data. You're working on your company's annual revenue forecast, planning for the next fiscal year. Normally, you could spend hours running a manual analysis of the numbers. Now, Copilot can run Python in Excel, making your job a whole lot easier. In just a couple of clicks, Copilot does an advanced analysis, reasoning over 3 years of historical sales data. Like an analyst would, Copilot opens up a new workspace where you can experiment to get the insights you're looking for, all without altering your original data. It shows a preview of what it's reasoning over, creates a plan to analyze it in a way that's immediately useful, and executes it with Python, giving you a quick picture of your numbers. Now you're ready to iterate on Copilot's work. Let's ask it to forecast your annual revenue for the next 2 years. Copilot repeats the pattern, creating a plan for how it will tackle the task, running Python in Excel to execute its analysis, giving you a fast and detailed analysis, and prompting you to iterate and ask questions about its work. If you want to make any of the edits to the Python code itself, you can do so directly in the workbook. This is the power of bringing Python directly into the Excel grid. Let's take it a step further. You want to understand how best to meet your revenue goals, which customers have the highest potential upside. So you go back to your original customer data and ask Copilot to use advanced analysis to rank customers based on upsell opportunity. As Python in Excel gets to work, it jumps back to your analysis workspace. It prioritizes the most helpful metrics and provides a preview of the data it will use. It ranks them, and within moments, you have a prioritized table. You want to see a visualization of the customer ranking and understand the weighting methodology Copilot used. Copilot quickly creates a chart and gives you a detailed breakdown of how it arrived at the answer. Within minutes, you've worked with Copilot to create a full analysis of your data, all without writing a single line of code. And now you're ready to send the analysis to your sales team and collaborate on it together.
As you can see, something that would be very difficult to do, or not easy if you don't have, a Python experience, or you don't have high data analysis skills, can be done fairly easily with Copilot in Excel. And as well as new features that I was able to see in a presentation, whereas, instead of just having the ability to work with Copilot in Excel in documents that already exist, you can actually get started with Copilot in Excel and actually ask it to personalize or create create a personalized Excel document for you. So a lot of exciting things coming into Copilot in Excel. Copilot for PowerPoint, maybe one of the features I use, as much as possible um, within the whole Copilot suite of products as well. So Copilot in PowerPoint, a couple of things that I think that are very interesting is Copilot's narrative builder. If you've ever actually used Copilot to create a PowerPoint slide deck, what's interesting is that it's cool because it actually generates the slide deck completely for you. But at some point, sometimes it generates a few things that you're wondering why it's putting this in there. So with the narrative builder, it actually shows you a preview of some of the things that are going to be in the PowerPoint itself, and then you can make modifications or remove sections or add sections, and have the PowerPoint narrative builder create that for you. So a lot more flexibility in what you're trying to accomplish there. You've got also the ability to translate with Copilot, and it does say presentation translation in 2024 for the web. So looking forward for that. It's one of the features I use the most. Well, I don't use it the most, but actually Microsoft had a few years ago. They actually had a plugin you could use to update to use to so that you could translate a whole PowerPoint document. It did a pretty good job, but they removed it. So I guess they baked it into the presentation translation. Another feature I found that was extremely cool is that the ability to go on a specific presentation deck and ask Copilot to generate the notes. So if you looked at this feature prior to when Copilot generated the presentation itself, it created the presentation notes. But in this new feature, if it's already a deck that's being created, was created, it can actually generate the notes off of the deck itself. So really, really interesting and cool stuff. If you're not familiar, there's a brand new product that is going to be available in GA if it's not already. I haven't seen it in my tenant, but maybe it's in yours. It's Microsoft Places. It is tool, an AI workplace app that gives you the ability to, check in. Gives you also the ability to find maybe find I was going to say a training room, but find a meeting room. Gives you also the ability to find a desk. Telling you what's the best place to come in if you want to meet certain people when you have meetings and things of that nature. So really, Microsoft Places, if it's a bigger organization, or it doesn't have to be that much of a big organization. Just if you're what you're trying to accomplish is work, the hybrid work, people working from home and come to the office and all that. So that's available in Microsoft Places. Very interesting. If I'm not mistaken, that's completely. There's no extra charge for that, and that's going to be fully integrated in Teams Room. So that really, really cool um, uh, application there. Copilot in Teams, a lot of some really cool and interesting changes. Keep on saying cool, cool, cool. Sorry about that. Need to work on my vocabulary. What I meant here is that interesting feature set. So, this has happened to me quite a few number of times. So we're in a meeting, and somebody actually shared something on screen or a document, and there's some really good information in there. And I remember seeing that information, and then I start looking in my emails. I start looking in um, I start looking at my emails. Thank you, Roland. I start looking at my emails. I start looking in my Teams, and I'm trying to find, where I actually, saw that information. And then what's happening now, and what's super interesting is the fact that you have the ability to, when Copilot is, giving you the recap, it's not only going to give you the recap of what was said, it's also going to give you the recap of what was written in the river, and as well as what was, in the document that was captured within the presentation itself. So you've got translated intelligent recap. So automatically, you've got the recaps in the language that you want. So that's really interesting. And the file summaries are not only available in Microsoft Teams meetings, but also in where there's multiple people, but also in group chats. And these are just new Teams experiences. I've actually grown to love how that works. The new chat and channel experience, as you can see, they've actually integrated the chats and the channel and the meeting chats within one single interface. Makes it so much easier for to follow up and see exactly what's going on. If you haven't, seen or experienced that already, you need to get one of the latest versions of, Microsoft Teams and play around a little bit with your favorites, and then you're able to find that information. The new Teams calendar, it's an opt-in, but I love it myself. Show of hand, who likes the new Teams calendar experience? It looks just like Outlook. Anybody has that? Is it just me that has it? It's like it's laid out exactly like Outlook. No, show of hands. Nobody has seen it. So I'm running. I've actually had this for maybe for a few weeks already. I've had that. So surprised that nobody else has that. Um, yeah, storylines and notifications. Some really cool things that to be able to follow updates. So that's a public preview. The Teams calendar is GA now. I've actually have the access to that. So it says it's an opt-in. So if you go to your calendars, there's a little toggle switch, and you could say, "Hey, I want the new Teams calendar." As far as I'm concerned, it's much better. The only caveat to it is we do a lot of webinars, and the option to actually see the webinar information, who attended, and all this is not available in that particular view. But then I have to switch it back. But for the most of the time, it's great because I can actually add other people's calendar, and I don't necessarily have to go back to Outlook to be able to do so. Copilot in OneNote, was fortunate enough to do a presentation on Copilot in OneNote in the Copilot Fridays. Lots of fun, and but I did reach some of the limitations that Copilot in OneNote had, and they're actually getting better. So what's interesting, and some of the features I've saw that Microsoft is coming out with, is the fact that Copilot in OneNote, as I'm using Copilot. I've been using OneNote, and I mentioned it in the presentation since 2000, I think 2003. So over 20 years now. So it's an unstructured note format. But what's interesting is that Copilot in OneNote can actually structure your notes and make sure that it's more you can comprehend it better. Or you can find the information a lot easier next time around. I this morning when I was making the presentation, I was saying to people, hey, imagine it's like when you were in university or you were in school, and somebody you would miss class, and then you would ask that that individual that's super talented, can I see your notes? And you would see their notes were really nicely typed, and so that's great. OneNote can actually do that for you, and they can refine your note taking, whether it's handwritten, voice, if it's an image, if it's a manuscript, you've actually wrote it by hand. It can actually sort that out for you and make it more understandable. Now let's talk about agents and Microsoft 365. So what is an agent? Essentially, an agent is uh, how can I compare this? It's a task-oriented copilot. So it can do specific things, and there's multiple examples, and I'm going to go through and talk about what are the examples that are available. So you've got your agents for SharePoint. So you can, integrate a SharePoint agent, which is, already, it's generally available. So the ability to actually ask and query questions specifically on what's in the, SharePoint site, right? So, what information you're looking for. So really great and interesting things that you can do with SharePoint Agent. If you've used Copilot, and I've used it quite a bit, um, inside of the Copilot chat or the Biz chat, sometimes I'm a little, um, I think that it's not crawling, and it's not going deep enough to all the vast knowledge that we have in the business. And I think that's really interesting when it's an agent that's directly attached to a specific SharePoint site, because it gives it the ability to find the information right in there, and you're more in tune with the context of what you're looking for. You've got employee self-service, so essentially you're replacing your HR department. I'm just joking. It's not replacing your HR department, but what it can do is you can find information a lot easier from HR, right? So if you're, looking to know, how much time do I get into maternity leave, and you have all that wealth of information that's already in there, you can, start a request, ask for a leave of absence, vacation time, and all these things. And that's built into Microsoft 365. It's an agent you can ask questions, maybe, what's the, when is the next time when's the next payday and things like that. So that's available in preview, and that can actually integrate within your HR system or your customer's HR system. So that's really, really interesting. You've got the facilitator. So it's essentially is you have somebody that's an administrative assistant or a secretary within a meeting. So, instead of having you or a specific individual, set up Copilot, but you have Copilot for everybody in the meeting. So it's taking notes in real time, and you're able to share information and ask it questions in real time, uh, without having to wait until you get the recap. And that's available now in public preview. It does not only stop at doing it for meetings, but it can also do it for chats or channels. So you can, whenever you go back to a channel you've led for a couple of days, next week I actually have to be offsite for a full day. I can just, when I come back to my teams, I can get a summary of in a specific what went on in a specific chat. So really cool stuff. Interpreter, that's the one. That's the one that actually was really, really well received. I think that we've been waiting for something like that for a long time. So here's a demo, and let me just get that started, and you can see what I'm talking about.
Nous devons vérifier l'avancement du projet actuel. Pouvez-vous nous dire comment les tâches avancent? We need to check the progress of the current project. Can you tell us how the tasks are progressing?
I like it. I thought that I would see, applause and things like that. It's something that we've thought that would be included in AI a lot sooner, but that's going to be included and available. So I think that's tremendous, especially, in a country like in Canada, where, a bunch of people are bilingual, but a lot of people are unilingual as well. So really, really great feature. Hopefully we can see this very soon. All right, so it's the interpreter. And there's also a project manager. So be able to follow plans, so follow tasks, cross tasks that are already be completed, and attribute tasks to different people. So another type of agent that is included, the agent in SharePoint, I talked about it. And say, you can create it, you can extend it. Obviously, it's secure. You can decide what's shared, what is not going to be shared in that particular, it could be in that particular team or SharePoint site where there's information. So flexible. So you can go, either a subscription, when you're looking at, Copilot Copilot in SharePoint. So you could either have the subscription, and you're giving that feature to somebody that has a license, or you can go into consumption mode, whereas you pay as you go. So you decide what works best, or maybe not everybody needs needs Copilot, but they need to be able to use Copilot in SharePoint, and they don't necessarily have a license itself. So different consumption, different model. So you can actually have either the license, or you could decide to go, $200 for 25,000 messages per tenant on a consumption mode. Um, so a lot of opportunities for you. As I discussed before, if you have a customer that has 50 or more Copilot licenses, they can actually share, create, and interact with agents in SharePoint. You've got time to evaluate, because you get 10,000 queries each month, starting. Oh, hold on, started already, December 1st up until June 30th. And learn and test and do great things with agents. So you can download, some assets to be able to learn how to, do and leverage Copilot agents for SharePoint. And yeah, publish, share that information. And here's, Microsoft 365 adoption page and resources. So you have access to this. If you are one of our partners, we're going to put all this beautiful PowerPoint or a PDF document directly on our IT Cloud portal. And next, very important go-to-market updates. I kept the best for last. So if you're unaware, you now get, as of January 6th, and you have access to this directly from the IT Cloud portal. You get 15% off of business premium. No minimum. Obviously, the maximum is 300, because that's the maximum amount of business premium licenses. So I would use this to level up my customer security at a very discounted price of 50%, 15% off. If you need more information, or you want to work on some deals, reach out to your account executive. I'd be glad to be able to help you out with this. And there's no better time to go and have these conversations with your customers. Quite a few number of promos, whether you're talking about security, upsell to business premium, 15% off. M365, the same thing has to be said for the M365 E3 SKU, E5, and you can add to that your IUR's benefits. So internal use rights. So if you have a solution designations, like a lot of our partners do in modern work, you will actually, in your benefit package, you will actually get Copilot licenses, which you can share, as you want with people internally. You also have the fantastic offer from Microsoft that is being extended all the way up to April 1st. You get 15% off of 10 seats of more of Microsoft 365 Copilot for a maximum of 300 seats. And it's available, and it is now available since December 1st on an annual monthly basis. So people don't have to fork upfront $500. They can just pay. Coupled with these promotions, you can pay under $40 a month per license. And if you have more than 10 licenses, it gets actually very, very affordable. So if you're looking at securing here, a lot of great, promos. And if you want to innovate, great stuff as well. As you can see, just not going to repeat myself, but it's essentially that. Sometimes we do this in PowerPoint presentations. So thank you very much. Looking forward to getting your, there's a survey here. Let us know what you would like to see. If there's things you want to get more information, I would invite you, if you are not part of our Copilot community, and to share, be at the community. So that's basically it. So book a call with one of our Microsoft specialists if you need more information on a set or a specific product, and you've got access to our YouTube page. That's where we store all of our beautiful webinars, such as this one. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone. Are there any questions? Got a few minutes left. Although I'm in back-to-back meetings, I can actually, if there's any questions, it would be my pleasure to answer it to the best of my ability. Well, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Well, thank you very much, dear partners, and see you at our next webinar or next one that I'm hosting. All right. Have a nice day, and thank you very much.